Welcome everybody. This is Team Computer Crew presenting a video on Android architecture and APIs. The Android architecture is basically divided into 5 software stack layers comprising the Linux kernel, native libraries, Android runtime, application framework, and the applications. Come, let us explore each and every layer in detail. The bottommost layer is the Linux kernel. The kernel basically acts as the medium between high-level application software and low-level hardware. It is something that is going to interact with the hardware. The hardware could be anything like camera, display, Wi-Fi, etc. The Linux kernel manages all the drivers such as display driver, camera driver, Bluetooth driver, audio driver, and memory driver, which are crucial for the Android device during its runtime. The kernel is also responsible for memory management, device management, power management, and resource access. Here comes the next layer, the native libraries. Libraries are nothing but some logical groups or logical instructions that we need to give to the kernel to perform an action. For this, we have several libraries. The media library can be used for playing and recording audio and video formats. The Surface Manager library can be used to provide display management. SGL and OpenGL libraries for 2D and 3D graphics. SQLite can be used for database and FreeType can be used for font support. Finally, WebKit can be used for web browser and SSL can be used for internet security. Next comes the Android runtime. The Android runtime comprises of 3 major components, namely the core libraries, Dalvik Virtual Machine, and the Zygote. Now, what is a Dalvik Virtual Machine? Dalvik Virtual Machine is nothing but a register-based virtual machine like the Java Virtual Machine. The DVM is specially designed and optimized for Android to ensure that a device can run multiple instances efficiently. The next component is the core libraries. The core libraries will enable the users to implement an Android application using standard Java programming language. Now, let us understand something about Zygote. Zygote is a special process in Android which handles the forking of each new application process. Basically, it acts as the template for each app and service that is started on the device. Here comes the next layer, the application framework. The application framework provides the classes used to create an Android application. It manages the user interface and the application resources. It includes a number of services like telephony service, location service, notification manager, NFC service, and view system that can be used while developing an application as per the user requirements. Here comes the final layer of the Android architecture, the applications. Android applications can be built by user himself, but Android provides us with a set of core applications like email, messenger, calendars, contacts, internet browsing, etc.
Now it is time for us to explore some of the APIs which forms the building blocks that we need to create Android apps. Here comes the view system. The view system helps us to build an application's UI. UI includes lists, grids, and then the text boxes, buttons, and even an embeddable web browser. The next comes API. Next API is a resource manager. The resource manager can be used for providing access to a non-code resources such as localized strings, graphics, and layout files. Next comes the notification manager. Notification manager is nothing but it enables all the applications to display custom alerts in the status bar. Next API is an activity manager. The activity manager, as the name suggests, it manages the lifecycle of the application. And the final API is a content providers. Content provider enables the application to access data from other applications. Enabling an app to access the contact app can be an example. Hope you enjoy knowing the services of API. Here comes the activity of a life cycle. Similar to our living beings, having a life cycle, the Android architecture has its own life cycle too. Come on, let us explore some of the methods involved in an activity life cycle. The onCreate method. The onCreate method is used to create an activity when it was called. The onStart method. This is called when an activity is becoming visible to the user. The onResume method. It is called when the activity starts to interact with the user. The onPause method. This is called when the activity is not visible to the user. The onStop method. This is called when the activity is no longer visible to a method. The onRestart method. This is used to use the activity to stop prior to the start when it was called. And the final method is onDestroy method. This is used to destroy the activity when it was called. That brings us to the end of activity lifecycle. Hope you all enjoyed this informative video on Android architecture and APIs. Thank you.